morning. Good morning. You might have heard me just say welcome. I'm going to say welcome again to make sure it didn't get cut off, but welcome to our webinar this morning. We're glad to have you all joining us. My name is Noelle. I'm a counselor here at Genesis, and then we also have Victoria with us today. She's also a counselor here.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning.
I'm glad to have you with us, Victoria. Just as a reminder, this presentation today is for educational purposes, and we ask that you please consider your own situation and safety concerns before putting into practice any of the ideas talked about today. We'll go to the next slide. So please be sure to watch this webinar in a safe place where only safe people can hear it. Using headphones can help ensure that no one else can hear what you're watching. And we also want you to remember to clear your browser history after watching the video if someone monitors your phone or computer. And then if you do need to leave this live Zoom webinar quickly, remember that you'll need to click end a couple of times and then close the Zoom page. Okay, just a couple other things with confidentiality. So please do not use the chat feature on Zoom. If you do use the chat feature, your name and the comment will be seen by anyone watching the live video and the video recording on YouTube. If you leave any comments on the YouTube video recording, your name and your comment will be seen by everyone else who watches the video. And I believe we've got the comments disabled, but just in case, we just ask that you not leave any comments on this or the video. Right, and then additionally, questions. So we don't monitor or respond to any comments or questions left on the YouTube video recordings. So please contact us directly if you are needing any help. If you have any questions about this webinar or you're needing any support, you can contact Victoria or I. Victoria's information is listed there below. If you want to write down that, we have her number and her email, as well as my phone number and my email. And you can also call the Genesis office if you're needing our information too. Right, and then if you are in crisis or need help with emergency safety planning, or you're looking for emergency shelter due to experiencing domestic violence, please call our 24-hour hotline. That number is 214-946-4357. And if you would like to sign up for counseling at Genesis or want to talk to a counselor about your situation, please call 214-389-7700. And then additionally, we wanted to provide you with a few other hotline numbers. So our Genesis Women's Shelter, we just showed that number. That number is there for you to call if you are seeking shelter. And you can also call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their number is 800-799-7233. And there's a chat feature on the hotline.org, which is really great if you're not able to safely talk on the phone. And then additionally, there's also the National Suicide Hotline that you can call if you're needing help. That's 800-273-8255. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the cycle of violence. This is something that we talk about often at Genesis, and if you've attended an intake here, then you have heard us explain what this is. Today we're going to go a little more in depth in understanding all about it. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so what is the cycle of violence? What are we saying when we're talking about that? So the cycle of violence is a pattern of violence in an abusive relationship. It typically has 3 phases. We're going to talk about each of those 3 phases more in depth today, and it follows a cycle that repeats. And we feel like it's important to note that, when we're talking about this in terms of within an abusive relationship, this pattern of behavior, this cycle, is there for the abusive partner to keep the power and control. And he's repeating that cycle again and again in order to maintain power and control over his partner. So we're going to next go into the 3 phases. So what are the 3 phases? So in the cycle of violence, there are first the stage 1, the tension building stage, which is followed by stage 2, the violent episode, and then stage 3, the honeymoon phase. And we're going to talk about each of these phases. But again, just want to mention that it's really important. I think looking at this, right, again, we're talking about a relationship. And all relationships start out in that happy, maybe you call it like a love bubble, or if you have another word that fits for you of what the start of a relationship looks like. There's not a relationship that starts that's in that violent episode, or even in that stage 1. We talk about, right, like nobody's going to go on a second date with somebody if on the first date he hit her or he called her a name, right? So again, almost like maybe there's kind of this pre-phase or this love phase that begins at the beginning. We just want to have that in mind. Sometimes women may feel at fault or feel like they should have known that this cycle of violence was going to occur in their relationship. And um, please, we just want to really reiterate, just like please knowing that there are all those good reasons at the beginning for getting in any relationship, right? There's those feelings of love at the beginning, and of course you didn't ever anticipate that this would happen. You didn't want it, and it wasn't what you would have ever chose. So just a couple of things that I wanted to make sure we pointed out as we begin. So let's talk more about this stage one. So in stage one, we call this the tension building phase. This is where there is starting to be tension in the relationship. Maybe there's anger, fighting. He is starting to become more critical, irritable, or temperamental. And again, as just a note, we use he and she in our webinars because due to the fact that domestic violence primarily is in a relationship with the man as the abusive partner and the woman being the victim of that violence, but we recognize that it can occur in any relationship and with any dynamic. But again, in this tension building stage, we'll go back to that slide for a little longer. This stage can also look like him maybe starting to punish her for mistakes. So maybe he's criticizing her over small things, like she goes to the store and buys the wrong brand of bread and he's telling her that she's dumb or she's stupid. She could also be getting to feel uneasy, maybe on edge, maybe a little fearful of what's going to come. There could be also maybe her starting to question if maybe there was some yellow flags as the relationship began and progressed, and maybe some of those yellow flags are starting to turn into red flags at this point. There could also be a lot of those things like condemning her for small things or things that shouldn't be as a big of a deal. She's beginning to feel more and more on edge as this time goes on. And we'll talk about phase two. So phase two is that violent episode. That's however he is abusive, whether he's physically, sexually, or verbally or emotionally abusive. And what we do see with abuse, again, with that pattern of power and control, is that abuse tends to escalate over time. So often partners at the beginning will use more of the verbal or emotional abuse, and then over time begin to escalate to using more of the sexual and physical abuse in order to keep that power and control. If the partner is going to use weapons, this is also the time when he's using those or threatening with those. It's also when he's easily switching from maybe what she might call like his normal self, right, to his dangerous self, to becoming dangerous. And what she's feeling in this stage is a lot of fear. This is a scary time. So we'll go to stage three. So stage three is this period of calm. We call it the honeymoon phase, although there's probably plenty of different names you could give to this phase, and it can look really different from relationship to relationship. But what it does tend to be is a period of calm where that escalation of abuse isn't happening at the moment. Maybe he has decided to be really kind. Maybe he's being really sweet to her. It could look like him buying her things, maybe helping out with the kids a lot. It could also look like him denying the violence ever happened. As you can see, even from those examples, right, this stage can look really different. It could also be him making excuses for his behavior or saying that this will never happen again. And even when this period of time looks like him being really kind and sweet, we know that that kindness is manipulative. It's a manipulative kindness in the sense that whatever he's doing is to keep this cycle going. He's purposefully choosing these actions at this time to keep the abuse going, to keep that power and control, and to keep her in the relationship. Going back to that point about denying the violence or making excuses, that could also look like him continuing that verbal and emotional abuse by using tactics like gaslighting or crazy making. So maybe making her question if the abuse ever occurred, or maybe she's questioning, maybe it wasn't so bad. Or he's saying, no, I never said that. And she's really wondering, was it like that? The relationship is feeling good again. And in this phase, there's a lot of different emotions. There's a lot of confusion for her of the relationship had started really great. Then there was this phase two with the violent episode. And now it's feeling more like the beginning of the relationship. That's really confusing. Maybe there's like a feeling of kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde. There can also be feelings of hope in this phase, of hope that maybe the relationship could return back to how it was at the beginning. Maybe he is going to change. All of those feelings are really, really normal to have. And there could also be love, right? Of feeling love again for him. We'll go to the next slide with that. So as you've heard us talk, you've probably heard us bring up those different emotions a lot. Love, hope, and fear, among other emotions, play a big role in the cycle. And we're going to talk a little more in depth about each of those on the next slide. Actually, going back to that previous slide for 1 second. Thanks. We have another counselor here helping us out today with that. Just wanted to point out again, we've kind of talked about each of these, but putting it together, that stage 1, the tension building phase, is when there's a lot of, maybe there's still a lot of love and hope for the relationship and just the beginnings of maybe some uneasiness versus fear. And then stage 2 is when there is those true feelings of fear and being scared and worried. And then stage 3 is again when maybe those feelings of love have returned. Maybe there's that hope again that it's going to change. Or there could be fear too, all mixed all together as this cycle continues to repeat itself. And then over time, that honeymoon stage, as it starts to go away and it's just that stage 1 and stage 2, fear often takes over as the main feeling there. So we can go to that next slide now. So again, those feelings help keep the cycle in motion, and they can make it hard to end the relationship. And we've talked in another webinar about reasons why women stay in abusive relationships, and we know that there are a lot of reasons for women to stay. It's very difficult to end a relationship, and it can be dangerous. Additionally, talking more about that love, right? There's that love for the partner, the good parts of the relationship, that maybe that includes the children together or other good memories, good parts. Hope can be that hope that the relationship will get better. Maybe he'll change. Maybe he will recognize that what he's doing isn't right. And again, that hope, because the relationship didn't begin like this. And so there's that hope that maybe it could change. And then also the fear that what he will do if she leaves, and then what if his threats become reality? Maybe as part of the emotional abuse, he's been threatening to take the kids, or he's threatening to kill her. So it's very valid to feel fear at this point. We know additionally, based on research and statistics, that leaving is the most dangerous time. 75% of domestic violence homicides do happen after the woman or when she's leaving the relationship. So we know that absolutely it's a dangerous time. And this is why at Genesis we focus so much on safety planning and on helping women become connected to resources. And so if for your situation you are thinking about leaving, we encourage you to reach out to us if you haven't already, and seek help with safety planning, whether that's with a counselor or with an advocate, or by attending our groups and learning more there. And then I just want to mention too that there could be other feelings that are keeping this cycle going, right? That could be shame of having this relationship having gone on so long, maybe feelings of regret of either getting in the relationship or staying in it, or other things. There could be sadness that this is how the relationship has turned out, anger at him and for how he's acting, or feelings of powerlessness that maybe feeling like there's not a way to get out of the cycle. All right, and then next we wanted to just touch on as well the effects of abuse, right? Because recognizing that this cycle again is a pattern of abuse and a pattern of power and control from the abusive partner. So just a couple, obviously this isn't all inclusive of all the effects, but just a few to point out that for women, the effects of abuse and being in this cycle are often, a big one is isolation, right? Feeling him, that can be a mix, right? That could be him isolating her, or it could be her feeling isolated from others for whatever reasons. It can also be feelings of depression, of sadness, increase in drugs or alcohol use, emotional problems or difficulties, feelings of anxiety and worry, and low self-esteem. So that constant verbal and emotional abuse from him can greatly affect how she feels about herself or what she believes about herself. And then for children too, effects of abuse can include emotional problems. It could be illnesses, so that trauma they're experiencing showing up as physical symptoms. It could be increasing fear and anger. Maybe they feel guilty, maybe they feel to blame, or they're embarrassed that this is happening in their family. They might act poorly, maybe acting out in school, or they're withdrawing, they're not wanting to interact. They could have difficulty trusting others and other behavioral problems. And they're also at an increased risk of abuse when there has been this abuse going on between the parents. So a father that abuses the mother is more likely to abuse the children as well. Then with men, just a couple effects. These negative effects, right, of increasing his belief that power and control are gained through violence, and that continued increase, right? We talked about that escalation of violence and how it'll often start with the verbal and emotional abuse before escalating to the sexual and physical abuse. There can also be increased contact with the law, and then increased emotional problems for him as well. So before we end with our coping portion today, we just wanted to talk about this question, right? How can knowing about the cycle help? Like, why is it important to know about this? We know we talk about this at every intake, so obviously we believe it's important, but we want you to also be able to leave this webinar feeling like this has been helpful information. So that first bullet point, right? Knowing about the cycle can help with you being able to identify and recognize what stage your partner is in or the relationship is in, and then knowing how you can protect yourself. Can include making a safety plan and having it ready for when you need it. So maybe that's a lot of aspects about physical safety. Maybe having a safety plan of what you'll do when you know that he's in the stage 1. Maybe that includes playing what we'd say like playing the actress, or kind of helping keep the calm if you are planning to leave. Maybe kind of trying to just kind of go under the radar. It could be in stage 2. It could be having a plan of what to do when he escalates. Maybe it's making sure to be in a room where there's 2 exits. Maybe it's having a code word with your kids or a neighbor that they know to go to. Maybe it's having all your documents in one place so you can leave if you are planning to leave or needing to leave. And then there can also be safety planning, that's the emotional safety planning. And we also covered this in a webinar that was super helpful, so you're welcome to watch that if you're wanting to learn more about that. Victoria led that one. But in emotional safety planning for each phase, that might include what you can say or do to help yourself through each of those phases. So maybe that's in that time when he is being verbally abusive in that stage 2, maybe it's being able to tell yourself that what he's saying isn't true, that you know what he's saying is not true about you, and you know that you're capable, or that you have worth, whatever it is for you. Maybe your emotional safety plan includes distractions during that phase 1 of just ways you can help cope with feelings you might be having. Maybe it's knowing who can be those supportive people that you can talk with when you are feeling those feelings of, that feelings of back and forth, of confusion about the relationship. Safe people that you can talk to about having both those feelings of love and those feelings of fear and not wanting to be in this relationship. And this might include too having a plan in place to attend groups at Genesis or seek out counseling or other services. And maybe recognizing what your own personal triggers are or what you personally can do, again, to stay safe. And then also knowing about the cycle can help you know that you're not, have it in quotations, but crazy or whatever word you might be feeling from being in this relationship, and knowing that the abuse is not your fault. Okay, so thank you all for listening with us so far. We're going to turn the time over to Victoria now. She's going to lead us in a coping skill with a peaceful place guided meditation.
Yes, thank you, Noelle. Like Noelle said, learning about the cycle of abuse and the cycle of violence can be very helpful when creating safety plans, and to also help you feel more empowered to know what to do for your safety. And as she said, this also includes emotional safety. If you've tuned into these webinars before or have watched any of our videos on YouTube, you've probably seen that we've talked about different types of coping skills and when these different coping skills might be helpful in different types of situations. And this coping skill I'm going to lead you through today is a type of relaxation technique. that really could be used at any point in this cycle. This is a technique that could be used. It's very subtle. Nobody else would know that you were using or thinking about your peaceful place. And so this could be something that you could do even if you were at work and you were feeling triggered, or if you were at home and your abusive partner is home as well. It's something that you can use that's internal, only you know that you're doing it. So this exercise can be helpful for all of those mixed feelings that do happen in the cycle of violence. Like Noelle said, it's very common to feel a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, especially in that tension building phase and the violent episode. But I think even the honeymoon phase, it's very common to feel a lot of confusion and a lot of anxiety about, what you just experienced and the things and the gaslighting that might be happening during that honeymoon phase. And also, experiencing domestic violence is a trauma and can lead to post-traumatic stress symptoms. And so this exercise is a tool that you can use to help cope with all of those mixed feelings and possible trauma symptoms as well. So we're going to pull up this peaceful picture. This is just kind of an example, but in this exercise, you're going to be thinking of a place that brings you peace or feelings of calmness. The purpose of this exercise is to help you relax your mind and guide you to imagine your own peaceful, calm place. This place can be imaginary or it can be real. So if you can think about a place that you've been before, maybe that could be your place, or it can also be imaginary, and just whatever might help you feel like you could be relaxing and calm in this place. So I want you to begin by finding a comfortable position if you're able to. Focus on your breathing. Allow your breathing to center and relax you. Breathing in and out. In and out. And you can close your eyes during this practice if you feel comfortable doing so. Continue to breathe slowly and peacefully as you allow the tension to start to leave your body. Release the areas of tension, feeling your muscles relax and become more comfortable with each breath. Continue to let your breathing relax you and breathe slowly, gently, and comfortably. Now begin to create a picture in your mind of a place where you can feel completely relaxed. Imagine what this place needs to be like in order for you to feel calm and relaxed. Start with the physical layout of the place you are imagining. Where is this peaceful place? You might envision somewhere outdoors or maybe indoors. It may be a small place or a large one. Create an image of this place. Now picture some more details about your peaceful place. Focus now on the relaxing sounds around you in your peaceful place. Now imagine any tastes or smells your place has to offer. Imagine the sensations of touch. Notice the temperature, if there's a breeze that may be present, or surfaces that you're on. Imagine these details of this calming place in your mind. Focus now on the sights of your place. Notice what you see: colors, shapes, objects, plants, maybe water, all of the beautiful things that make your place enjoyable. Notice what you see. And now imagine yourself there in this relaxing scene. What would you be doing in this calming place? Perhaps you are just sitting, enjoying this place, relaxing. Maybe you imagine yourself walking around or doing any other variety of activities. Picture yourself in this peaceful place. Imagine a feeling of calm, of peace, a place where you have no worries, a place where you can simply rejuvenate, relax, and enjoy just being. Enjoy your peaceful place for a few moments more. Memorize the sights, sounds, feelings, tastes, smells, and other sensations around you. Know that you can return to this place in your mind whenever you need a break. You can take a mental vacation to allow yourself to relax and regroup before returning to your day-to-day. In these last few moments of relaxation, create a picture in your mind that you will return to the next time you need a quick relaxation break. Picture yourself in your peaceful place. This moment you are imagining now, you can picture again the next time you need it. And when you are ready, file away the imaginary place in your mind, letting it wait for you the next time you need it. And now start focusing on your breathing again. Breathing in and out as you turn your attention back to the present. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, maybe take a stretch, roll your neck, or whatever you might need to come back to the present moment. So this is an exercise that you can use, like I said, at any time of the day, any place you are, even just going back to that place, imagining all of those positive sensations and relaxing sensations there, going back there, noticing what you feel in your body. That can be also a way to help when you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed or having a lot of mixed feelings. That's something that you can use on your own too, at home, at work, wherever it might be. Definitely, if you have any questions after our presentation today, if you have any questions about the things we talked about or any of these coping skills discussed, please give us a call, or you can email us too. Our contact information is here. We really appreciate you watching today or watching this video on YouTube, and hope that this was helpful for you. Definitely reach out to us if you need anything.
And thank you all. Have a great day.